we face towards Jerusalem, the city of our King, Abba, we give all praises to your holy name, your set-apart name, which is a name above all names, a name that our mouths can't even pronounce properly. And you said that one day you will give us a name that no man has. You will give us the truth. You'll show us all things. Because even while we have this one talent, we have done miserable with it. And Abba, I pray that you'll forgive us for our sins and the sins of our fathers. For we have sinned against you, and we have done only to you, Father, these crimes that we are rightfully been afflicted upon us as punishment. You said that you'll scatter us among the nations, and it has been so. You said we'll be the lowest among the people, and it has been so. You said that we'll be a byword, and it has been so. You said that we'll be barren from all these other nations, and strangers will come among us and rise above us. It has been so. You said that we will be afraid, and it has been so. All the things that you have pronounced upon us has been so. And all the prophecies that has been told to us, we see it coming to pass, even these last days. And so, Abba, we pray that while we have the health and strength and the breath of life within our bodies, that we would make the change in our lives, and that the forgiveness will not be just a mouthpiece, but it will be something of the heart, that our minds will be focused upon you and truly upon you, not to point fingers to the left or to the right, but to ourselves, that we will walk before you in righteousness. Abba, we love you. We thank you. May you lend me your spirit that I can speak your words and guide my lips, Father. I thank you so much. In Yeshua's name we pray. Bless us all. Amen. Blessings to you, brothers and sisters. You can switch it up. All the way down to the red. Let's see it. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. We come before you, and we greet you all again in the name of our King, thanking him for his mercy, which truly endures forever. Today we're going to continue with the theme of Pentecost, but we're going to dive into the Ketubah and give an overview of Israel's engagement. There are a lot of things to really cover on this topic, so I'll try to be brief on each slide or each portion of it for two reasons. There's a lot of food put on the table, and I don't expect us to get it in one serving. It takes time for us to really learn and understand something that we have been far forgotten. We have been so separated from for thousands of years that all we know is a Greek and a Gentile way of doing things. And so it takes a little time, and you have to be patient with yourself. All right? And so this topic, the Ketubah, is going to give us an opportunity to see how the Messiah views the covenant that he has come into, and to give you a little taste of the Hebrew culture, opening up your understanding and bring you closer, and even give a greater significance of the marriage covenant, of how important it is from his perspective, because everything that we are going through right now in terms of relationship and whatever it is, we learn these things from an original source. There was an original source, and people have added and taken away things that now marriage is noted as a union between two men and two women and a rock and a woman and all kinds of craziness. And so if the Bible says to remove not the ancient landmark which the fathers have set, and it can be easily forgotten, and then all of a sudden evil has become normal among people, and people believe that marriage is really between whoever that you are in love with or feel that you're in love with. So let us return back to the origin, and let's see how things are supposed to be. I want to remind every one of you who are on the conference line to please mute your phone just to avoid any leakage of background noises. And also our call-in number, those of you who would like to chime in, it's 605-475-2875 in the U.S. And also for the UK, 0330, you put in 777-1307. And if you're in Canada, 867-292-3030. That's 867-292-3030. Just put in a code number, which is 924-8738, and you're able to chime in. Hopefully, the Most High will allow us to have better technology, and if He doesn't wrap things up, and if the nations doesn't pull the plug on us, we will have some better technology, even with your support, to purchase and to get lines and whatever the case may be. All these things take money, and it's just not free. But for now, these are the three numbers that we have available. There are some other numbers in other European countries, but I don't think there are too many of our people really in that neck of the woods. But I think I'll probably add those in later on, for the Gentiles who may want to learn and appreciate the Hebrew culture, and because we are to be the example in the presence of the whole entire world. Okay, so again, our disclaimer is found in the Psalms 119:89. It says, "Forever, O Yehovah, your word is settled. Forever, your word is settled in where? In heaven. Shemayim." That's correct. So I'm not the final say of anything. I'm going to share with you what has been given to me. And it's for you to feast or to be famined or starved. Either way, you can take or you can leave it alone. But his word is settled in heaven. And so that's perfect, because it's actually where the sun, moon, and stars are. That's also where we can't change or alter anything whatsoever. So we have to go along according to his way. Also in Psalms 138, next slide, verses 2 says, "I will worship toward your holy temple and praise your name for your loving kindness and for your truth. For you have magnified your word above all your name." Again, to remind our brothers and sisters who are learning from us for the first time, you're coming from another perspective that makes the name very, very important, pronunciation very important. And I always challenge and say, listen, I don't mind saying what you say, but you got to provide the DVD of exactly what Moses, the way he pronounced it, because one of us has to be in error, or all of us is in error. But there's one truth, and one of these great days, he will teach us of his truth. In the book of Psalms 40:7, it says, "Lo, I come in the volume of the book." The book, what we have in front of us, it says, "It is written of me." So everything that we are trying to understand about the Messiah, he already put those things within the volume of the book. And what it is trying to teach us, brothers and sisters, is that we look at the life, the character, the stories, the script that has been given to us, and the actors who have been acting out a script. The lives of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and many of the other prophets and the kings. We look at those things and we glean from that the character of our soon-coming king. Because he's telling us that the things that we witness by what we read in the Torah, the Tanakh, the entire Bible, is a picture, a snapshot, a little clip, a small video of his role, what he's going to perform. So today we're going to look at a snapshot of the Hebrew marriage and cover some aspects of it, which will help us to understand and how everything lines up with the feast and whatnot, to have an understanding how the Most High deals with marriage. Okay? So before we go into the scriptures itself, let's cover a little history. Now, many of us who practice, who know anything about marriage, about 80%, probably even 90% of everything we think about marriage comes from the Gentile persuasion, the Gentile aspect, right? And there's a history, and let's take a look at a brief history, a little history about why we hear the term June bride. Have you all heard about this before? June bride, right? Okay. So let's look at that, and I'd like one of our readers to read for me what's on the screen. Can you all see the screen well? The bridal house, the June bride.
Yeah, it's kind of far, but I'll try to see. Can you see it?
Who has the better vision can read. Okay. And read with all your strength, okay?
The bridal house. June is the most popular month for weddings. Sunny skies and brisk spring breezes are obviously appealing, but it turns out that our attraction to early summer unions may have something to do with our ancestors.
Now, when it says our ancestors, it's not speaking about the Israelite ancestors. We're looking at some of the traditions that we have been practicing. And this is an article from the Bridal House. You can do a Google search, Bridal House, put in June bride, and you'll see the same article. Go ahead and read the tradition.
The tradition of June brides dates back to Roman times.
So it dates back to the Roman times. If you read the book of Jasher, you'll understand that the Roman Empire was actually built by one of the sons of Esau. Right? His name is Zepho. Okay? Continue on.
And the June 1st festival celebrating the marriage of deity Juno and his wife Jupiter, the goddess of marriage and childbirth, no less.
Now let's look a little further. In the 14th century, read.
In the 14th century, June was the top pick because it's when people began to bathe again following winter.
Read it again. It's when?
It's when people began to bathe again following winter.
So it's saying that in the 14th century, Mishpachah, June was the top pick because it's when the people of Europe, not our people, but the people of Europe, began to do what?
Bathe again.
Bathe again. So what is this telling us? So during the winter time, there was no showers, or rarely any showers, right? Following the winter. Read.
And brides wanted a pleasant smelling crowd. It was also convenient because flowers were newly available and very necessary to mask the smell of those who hadn't yet cleaned up.
Now listen to the word. It was not to remove, but to mask. To mask is to put something over something else that exists. Like Febreze. Shh. All over the place, right? So the smell is still there, but the smell, the Febreze, the flowers, is to cover the problem, right? So this is a little history. Read on.
This is the origin of the bouquet.
This is the origin of the what?
Bouquet.
So you got the women with the floral bouquet in their hands, and they have no idea of what the reasons behind these flowers. So they have this tradition practicing, but no understanding of the history. Let's move to our next slide. Next slide.
Is it
Celtic.
In the Celtic calendar, the term honeymoon referred to the first moon of after the summer solstice.
I'll hold the mic to you.
June 21st.
Okay, so in the Celtic calendar, the term honeymoon referred to the first moon of after the summer solstice. Read the term.
The term became synonymous with time following the wedding, even when it happened outside of June weddings.
Okay, so we see we see the word honeymoon is there, but we don't make the connection that the people used to look at the what? The people used to discern what? What was their calendar?
Moon.
The moon. The people used to look at the moon for times of marriage and so forth. Okay? So keep those things in mind. Let's continue on. The wedding tradition.
Wedding traditions. Why does the bride carry a bouquet?
Read on.
Why does the bride carry a bouquet? The origin of this tradition is a little blurred. One of the reasons that brides carried bouquets was born out of the necessity of covering odor, trying to smell pretty on that special day. Ever take a tour in one of the oldest cities in Europe?
Now notice it says Europe. Okay? All right, continue on.
Let's say Edinburgh, for example. It was a very odoriferous lifestyle way back then.
Odoriferous, that means smelly lifestyle way back then. So back then in Europe, the pits were the pits. Read on.
In the 1600s and for a very long time afterwards, people bathed extremely infrequently.
So notice this is the pinnacle of the European society at the time. The ones who were the masters, conquerors of the world and colonizing everywhere. But yet they lacked a very important necessity, which is taking a shower, a bath. And I'm sure that they had plenty of rivers and lakes and ponds in Europe. And they had fires that they can boil some water. And they had cauldrons, right? They had ways of heating the water. Is that correct?
Yes.
So there's no excuse that the people shouldn't take a bath whatsoever. Extremely infrequently, right? Read on.
According to the Huffington Post, during the 15th century, people took their yearly baths in May and would generally get married in June.
Yearly baths, just once a year. That's when?
In May.
In May. As soon as the flowers appear, that's the time that they take a shower. So when they say, what is it? April showers bring?
Mayflowers.
Not even April showers. They waited until May. The flowers, the ground was much cleaner than the people themselves. Read on.
Just to be safe, brides carried bouquets to mask the smell
Of the body odor.
of body odors.
Okay, let's not run too far ahead because they're reading. Okay. Let's continue on. Wedding traditions.
Wedding traditions. Why does the bride carry a bouquet?
Read on.
You will find this reason repeatedly if you research the tradition behind the bride carrying a bouquet. Another old and popular custom for carrying a bouquet was to ward off evil spirits.
Okay, so so you're carrying around a bouquet of flowers, and there are two reasons behind it. One, because of smell, and because of evil spirits, which I don't think is too far from the smell. Both is evil, right, Kifa? The smell and the spirit. Read on.
But that's why the spirit stays, because of the smell.
Usually these bouquets were made from very pungent herbs, spices, and yes, garlic could be involved. I am thinking that you could kill two birds with one stone with a garlic bouquet. Evil spirits and evil odor could be knocked out with one bouquet. Oh, the old days. Sometimes the spices, flowers that were included in the bouquet, for example, dill, and marigolds, which are edible, were added and subsequently served up at the wedding feast to promote lust.
So the flowers also was set up to promote lust. Let's read on. I want to give you all some more history before we get into the Hebrew way of doing things. Yes.
But do you know that?
There's another mic over there.
Do you know that the marigolds usually have them in the cemetery?
In this, okay.
Yeah, most of the time, all the marigolds will be in the cemetery.
Well, if you have a dead smell, and you have spirits that deal with dead, right? The corpses, the marigold, I guess, is in a perfect place. Is that correct? All right, let's move on. Let's continue. You want to say something?
I want to ask you a question. Is this pertaining only to the people, men in high places, or women likewise?
Huh? Men in high places?
Yeah, you know, he said that the guys that who don't get the bath is in high position. So I wonder if this dealing with men.
No, this is just talking about the culture.
In
That's the culture of the Europeans at that time. Okay, and we do have articles. We do have articles about the hygiene that's still in existence today in a society. Even like in France and those places, a lot of people really don't care too much for showers. All right, so let's read on. Let's see what this article is saying. So think about
the fun that you can have with your bouquet. I will paraphrase what I recently read in, is it Her Life?
Yes, Her Life.
Her Life magazine with regard to the tradition. In ancient times, a bride was considered especially lucky on her wedding day. So, guests were compelled to tear off parts of her dress to obtain a good luck talisman for themselves.
So basically, they were stripping the bride naked by tearing off pieces of her clothing. Read.
Not all brides cared for this activity, as it seemed unpleasant to have their clothing ripped from her bit by bit, compliments of the guests. So it involved that the bride outsmart her guest by giving an offering of herself, enabling a guest to obtain a lucky talisman and allowing herself to keep her clothing intact.
So what did she do? Read.
She started throwing her garter and bouquet in lieu of pieces of her dress.
So there goes the history. So when you see the throw the flowers and they throw the garter belt, you don't know the origin of these things. It was a talisman. Anyone knows what a talisman is all about? It's an amulet for good luck, protection. It pertains to serving other gods. Speaking to the mic. Oh.
Sorry, it's a little idol that you carry around you.
That's right.
Yeah.
An amulet. It's an idol,
an object that attaches a spirit for a purpose.
That's right. So the clothing itself was looked at as some good luck piece or whatever. And so she transferred all that, or it was transferred, evolved from that part to just, it's still part of her clothing, the garter belt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are some of the traditions that we found ourselves practicing. And we so much want to protect this particular heritage, but when it comes to the Hebrew culture, for some reason, we abhor that. We have problems with it. So let's see what we can learn from this piece of history. Can you read Jeremiah 10 verses 2? Just that little piece. Just that little piece is up on the screen. What does it say?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
So are we to learn and practice the nation's customs?
No.
Or should we have our own customs? The Bible says to learn not the way of the heathen. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to learn the ways of the heathen. We're going to focus on the Hebrew culture from the scriptures, okay? Let's get right to it. Israel's engagement anniversary. So we looked at the June bride, and we're going to examine just a little bit why the summer. We talked about this last week, but now we're going to, you can switch it up. Exodus 23:14 to 17. Let's go there real quick. And we're not going to stay too long on some of these slides because it's just a little repetitive. Exodus 23, 14 to 17.
Read.
Okay.
3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib.
So that's the springtime. That's the first time of the seasons that the Most High want us to remember. We talked about it last week. Continue.
For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty.
Read on.
And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field.
That goes to the summer. Read on.
And the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field.
And that's dealing with the fruits. Okay, so you have the barley season. You also have the season when the wheat has become ripened. And then we also have the season when the fruits themselves are ripened. And so we are to present ourselves 3 times in a year according to the way that the Most High set nature up. Okay? Productivity. The males also and the families that the males represent. We all present ourselves before the Most High, but the males are the ones who step forward, presenting their seed before our King. All right?
Verse
So
17.
So 3 times in a year, 17.
3 times in the year, all thy males shall appear before Yahweh Elohim.
All right. So again, the same way with nature, with the crops, we are also considered to be the trees of his vineyard. Right? So 1, 2, 3. We have 3 different seasons. And so therefore, Passover, which is in the spring, and unleavened bread. And then we have Shavuot, which is also in the summer. And then we have in the fall, we have the trumpets. We have Yom Kippur, which dealing with atonement. We have tabernacles, and we have the last great day of the feast. So let's look at this as an overview. Kifa, you can change it up. Okay. So Passover is about redemption, rescuing, and it's also the Exodus. Unleavened bread, again, is covering the parts of purging, cleansing, and going through the wilderness, beginning that journey through the wilderness to begin our transition or purge. Okay? And then we arrived at Mount Sinai, and we have an engagement ceremony where the covenant was given to our people. That was in the summertime. Okay? Then in the fall season, we have the Feast of Trumpets, where the calling occurs. Yom Kippur is atonement. And also what?
Removing of all the sin.
Removing of the sin. But it's also an exchange process. We'll cover that shortly. And you can grab Exodus 13 and 11 for that too. We have tabernacles. Tabernacles where we dwell in these booths. But at the end of all this, we have a big feast. Okay? Because this, the tabernacles is when we come into these temporary homes. It's a rehearsal, but also it represents us coming into the Messiah's home. Okay, coming together into his home because his home is finally built, and then there is the consummation, that honeymoon process. Okay, entering into this home that has been constructed for us. We're going to cover the summer part, which is Shavuot today, and hopefully it will bring some understanding. Let's get Exodus 13 and 11. Exodus 13 and 11.
Okay, it says, and it shall be, when Yah shall bring thee into the land of Canaan, of the Canaanites, as he sware unto thee and to thy fathers,
Read
and
on.
shall give it thee, that thou shalt set apart unto Yah all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh of a beast which thou hast, the males shall be Yah's.
Read on.
And every firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And if thou wilt not redeem it, then thou shalt break his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And all the firstborn of man among the children shalt thou redeem.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall be, when thy son asketh thee in time to come, saying, What is this? Thou shalt say unto him, By strength of hand Yahweh brought us out from Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
from the house of bondage.
So now we find it's written here that the reason why an animal was killed is because is to represent also what the Most High has done to Pharaoh, killing those the Egyptians, the firstborn. Is that correct? What is this? Taking pictures? All right. Well, I'll try to reposition myself. Okay. So, redemption, redeeming a people in exchange of other people's lives, because our lives were. Remember what happened with the young children who were cast into the water, and all the crimes that was committed against us in Egypt, right? But also remember, someone had to die for someone else. There was an exchange. Okay, one people had to go down and another people increase. Yeah. Egypt increased because we went down. Now it's our turn for us to increase and they go down. So there's this exchange. Redemption, which we find in the springtime, is also equivalent to what? The atonement or the exchange in the fall. So in the fall season, during the time of atonement, we find that there is a bull, or not a bull. Well, a bull also, but we have two goats. Okay, one a pronouncement is placed on that, and this one is driven off into the wilderness, and the other one is killed. Right, scapegoat. That's another class. But when you look at the theme based on that, that is similar to the theme that you find also in the spring with Passover. Okay. Now, of course, when Yeshua died, a lot of things that he did was similar to the fall feast. It was part of the spring, but it's also very identical to the fall. That's another class. So let's read on just a little bit more. Where did you stop?
I stopped on 14, so I'm going to 15 now.
Read.
And it came to pass, when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that Yah slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrificed to Yah all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. And it shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for frontlets between thine eyes. For by strength of hand Yahuwah brought us forth out of Egypt.
All right, that's all we need from that. So I just wanted to share with you all that when we look at the we'll just out the way. So when we look at the spring with redemption, Passover, rescue, he's destroying one and he's saving another one. There's always been that balance in the universe, right? So in the fall season, we have Yom Kippur with atonement. There's an exchange that takes place, right? All right, so let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time on that. What is Shavuot? Let's go to our next slide. Shavuot is Hebrew for weeks, and it's also our special engagement day. It is also one of the 7 required annual holy days or set apart times of Elohim for those who came into covenant relationship with him. So when you read the book of Leviticus 23, it starts to let us know this is for the house of Israel. These are the Most High's feasts and so forth. And in this particular reading, you may be looking at this from the as a farmer agricultural standpoint. But the Hebrew culture was always based around farming, all right, an agrarian lifestyle. The language, everything that we did was based upon the life cycles of the seed. The seed being germinating, growing up, sprouting, it produces fruit, it dies, it goes through the process again. It's these cycles of life. All right? So Leviticus 23 is outlining that cycle of life. And that's what we're going to cover today. Let's continue on. What is so special about this feast, the deeper meaning? The Strong's Concordance defines the word feast as a moed, which means what? An appointment. An appointment. Also, the Hebrew word for convocation that you read in Leviticus 23 is a mikra, which means a rehearsal. A rehearsal. Now, when we look at the root word for feast, we get the word yaad. Yaad, okay? And we'll cover that in a moment. But when you look at the word hand, the word hand in Hebrew means yad. Yad, okay? So let's take a look at the, let's go to the next slide. Next slide. So what does the root word for feast or yad really means? A primitive root, to fix upon, by agreement or appointment, by implication, to meet at a stated time, to summon to trial, to direct in a certain quarter or position, to what? Engage for marriage. So normally when the bride comes into a contract with engagement, what is utilized in that engagement process? The hand, the yad. The yad is being utilized. So ya'ad, which the root of feast or ya'ad means an engagement or a marriage. To agree, make an appointment, a time, assemble yourself, betroth, gather selves together, meet together at a set time. So you got the coming together, an appointed time to come together according to the scriptures. When you read it from the ancient Hebrew, it's trying to tell us that the feast also connects with marriage. All right? Okay. So let's continue. Let's go to our next slide. Who is engaged to be married? First of all, the people of Elohim who came into covenant relationship with him on Mount Sinai. The special bride who is the bride above all others. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10. And we're going to read verses 15 to verses 16, okay? Deuteronomy chapter 10. Let me get that here for Mishpachah. What did I say?
15 to 16.
10, 15 to 16. Okay. All right. So when you get it, just go ahead and read.
Only Yah had a delight in thy fathers to love them. And he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day.
So this is the Bible itself that many people have in their possession. And it says that only the Lord have a delight in your fathers to love them. And he chose their seed after them, even you above what?
All people.
All people. How clear is that? Okay? So it's written in the book, above all people, as it is this day. And for some reason or the other, this is ignored. Okay? So when we were brought out from Egypt, and we came to Sinai, we were actually coming into an agreement, a ketubah, a marriage contract, which we'll examine a little bit further. Was that it?
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked.
Was that it? Okay. So that's all we need from that. Let's go to chapter 7, Deuteronomy 7, and we'll read from 6 to 11. 7, 6 to 11. Deuteronomy 7, 6 to 11. So we can see that this contract also involved circumcision. Okay? So when the Gentiles pick up our scrolls and they read this portion of it, they say, no, that's done away with. We don't have to do that anymore. Well, when they say we don't have to do it anymore, they need to be very clear and says, well, we don't need to do it. Because really and truthfully, the Most High didn't come into covenant with the other nations. It was not expected for them to do that. But if they join into the commonwealth of Israel, guess what? They have to do it. Okay? They're not Israelites, but they're in the commonwealth, like a government, right?
Yeah.
They're part of the commonwealth, greater Israel. Okay? So let's read verses 6 and 7.
For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim have chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Again, this is the same language we find in a marriage. The same language we find when you look at Miss America pageant. When you look at all these different competitions, someone is going to wear the crown. It's not all of them. One. Okay? One is going to wear the crown. So he says, I have chosen you to be a special people unto myself, right? Above all people that are on the face of the earth. He's making it clear of his choice.
Amen.
Read on, verse 7.
Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because you were more in number than any people. For ye were the fewest of all people.
And it's similar to, he didn't choose Israel. Or let's put it this way. Abraham's wife, was she very fruitful?
No.
How many children did she have?
One.
And there are other people who could just put out children like boom, 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 right?
Yeah.
But she was what? She was barren. So he didn't choose this Israel because Israel was like multiplied, a multitude of people. We see the same format, the same type, template with Abraham and his wife. The Most High has placed that character on Abraham, and we're learning from that story of Abraham and his wife to understand the marriage, the covenants between the king and ourselves, right? We were the fewest of all people. All right.
Verse 8.
Let's read verses 8. Yeah.
But because Yahuwah loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, have Yah brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt.
Verses 9.
Know therefore that Yah thy Elohim, he is Elohim, the faithful Elohim.
That's important. In the marriages today, we know that there are a lot of different problems and whatnot. And when we read the Bible, sometimes it looks as though it's a male chauvinist type thing where all this power is given to a man and nothing is said about the woman. But really and truthfully, in the proper understanding, it's actually speaking about the Messiah. That the Messiah is the one that does no sin. He has no sin whatsoever. Right? And Israel is the one who has the fluctuation. Sometimes she's great, sometimes she's bad, naughty, nice, naughty, whatever, right? And the struggle to maintain her chastity, if we can use that word. Let's read.
Which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Now, has 1,000 generations been completed as yet? So it goes to show, when he says, I'm faithful and I'm keeping my covenant to 1,000 generations, does that mean Israel is done away with?
No.
Does that mean that his contract of a marriage, that is null and void, is broken? No. He's still in contract with the people that he has committed himself to. Let's continue.
Verse 10.
Verse 10 to 11.
and repair them that hate him to their face,
to
destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hateth him. He will repay him to his face. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command thee this day to do them.
All right, so now he's saying that part of this document, which we'll cover, you got to keep your bargain, because I swore to you. I promised you that my part of the bargain is going to be kept. He says even 1,000 generations. That's what, 40,000 years? Right? Okay. So we know he means business. That's all I want to bring from that. Let's go to Isaiah 54 and 5. Isaiah 54 and 5. Isaiah 54 and 5. Let me pull it up. Just to show you that the Most High is in a marriage with Israel. He loves Israel. He's committed to Israel. And we'll see the language. 54 and 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what the book says.
It says, for thy maker is thine husband.
So your maker is also your husband. Read.
Yahweh of hosts is his name. And thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of only Israel.
Yahweh of the whole earth shall he be called.
So he's the power of the whole earth. He controls everything, but he chose one particular people as his bride, his spouse. Okay? That's all I want from that. So we can build and have a better understanding that he's engaged to be married to a particular people, which is Israel. But the marriage hasn't been consummated as yet. And we'll explain what that means. How could he be engaged and be married at the same time? See, when we come from the Gentile June bride mentality, we're doing things without understanding. But the Hebrew wedding was different. The engagement process, the betrothal, was as serious also as the actual marriage. The only difference is that no one has had the honeymoon experiences yet. As long as you agree to the paperwork, she is no longer on the shelf. No one can touch her. No one has the right to take her. Okay? Let's get Jeremiah 3 and 14. Jeremiah 3 and verses 14. Jeremiah 3 and 14. I hope everyone is learning something today.
Whenever you're ready.
Yes, Jeremiah 3 and 14.
Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you.
So he says return. When it says turn, it means return in the Hebrew. The English says turn. O backsliding children, saith Yahuwah, for I am what?
Married unto you.
Does it say he's married to the whole world?
No.
See, when you do a diligent search throughout the Bible, you're not going to find any prophecy, any word that the Most High has committed himself in a marriage contract with all the peoples of this earth. You cannot find it, okay? He's married only to a particular people. Read on.
And I will take you one of a city and two of a family.
And he's even being more specific because there's a sifting process. Not every one of your family is going to agree to the contract. That's why many people died in the wilderness. That's why he's going to purge out from Israel the rebels. We've been teaching these things, so now when we go through this, you'll understand that there is a sifting process. So you have a body called Israel. And you know when a woman goes to the spa, she sheds some skin, some dead skin. She starts to trim her nails. She trims her hair. Different parts of her body starts to be manicured, pedicured, and cleaned up and whatnot, right? So she can reach to that perfect, soft, tender, well, I don't know about the European June brides, but in this case, she spends a year or 6 months, like Esther did, in a spa, getting herself ready for that one and final day. That was a type of the bride and the Messiah from a different side. Okay, the story of Esther. Preparing your heart, preparing your body. But what I'm trying to show you that as a body of people, there are going to be some Israelites that will not make it. They're the molds that has to be removed. They're the long, the extra finger things on the fingers that has to be cleaned or removed. These are the things that has to be separated from the body, and the final product is a beautiful, well manicured, beautiful woman to be presented. Yes, Elder.
Something just come to mind as you mentioned preparing, and I believe that is what we are doing now.
Exactly.
Preparing and rehearsing and preparing ourselves.
That's correct. That's correct. That's what we're doing. Thank you so much. Did you finish reading that?
No.
Read.
And I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
So that's important. He's going to purge out, and he's going to do the proper cleaning for the house of Israel. Let's pick up some speed here. Now let's go to our next slide. Contractual agreement. In order to gain a better understanding, we will look at key aspects of the Hebrew wedding. A contractual agreement, a contract. Right? Now I'm not going to spend time speaking about marriage per se, but I'm going to just do a flyover. All right? Flyover. Just to cover the basics. Because there's a lot of different details in here. Questions will arise, and that's going to bog us down. So I just want to do a flyover to give us an understanding of why Pentecost or Shavuot is known in the Hebrew culture as the day that we were given this Ketubah, or this marriage document. All right? So let's look at this. The ancient Hebrew wedding. Next slide. Ancient Hebrew wedding has 3 aspects. There is a wedding contract or betrothal, which is a selection of the bride. You select the bride. You also have a price to bring forward to the family for the bride. There's an agreement process. The bride also has to consent. She has to agree to that. Is that correct? She also has to agree to this contract. Okay? Now, let's move on to our next slide. There's also the wedding ceremony, part 2, the wedding ceremony. The groom receives the bride, come into a cup of covenant, right? There's an exchange of gifts, and there's also the mikvah, or the immersion, or the washing, cleansing. And then at some point in time, when they come into this this agreement, this agreement for engagement process, the groom leaves for a certain amount of time. So we'll cover that too. All right? That's parts of the Hebrew. Let's continue on. There's also the return of the groom. And at the return of the groom, you have the consecration of the bride, the return of the bridegroom. You have a chuppah. Anybody knows what a chuppah is? A chuppah? Anyone knows? No, it's not a stepping over. No, the chuppah is a tent. It's a covering. It's the covering. Okay. And so they come onto this tent, or this chuppah, and this covering, come together. They say their final agreements and stuff, and then the final step, they have a supper, a meal, and then after that they come into they consummate the marriage. So you have these parts that has to be acted out. When you read the Bible, you will see everything is laid out according to this ancient practice of marriage. Okay, yes.
What's the purpose of the chuppah? to cover them? Is that because Yahweh is their covering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And remember on Mount Sinai, there was a thick cloud that covered them.
Yeah.
He also covered them by a cloud by day and fire by night and whatnot. But there was always this cloud that covered them. There was always a covering for Israel. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So, let's continue on. Our next slide. Let's look a little bit. Let's look a little bit at the. Let's go to our next slide. Selection of the bride. Right there is fine. Selection of the bride. Let's look at that for a little bit. Can you read for me?
Sure. You want to read? It's kind of far for me to read it.
Let me see.
I'll tell you what. I'll read. I'll read. Fine. In ancient Israel, brides were usually chosen by the father of the bridegroom. The father was the one who chose the bride for the son. He would send his most trusted servant to search for a bride for his son. Now, anyone remembers the story? What's a good example of that? Abraham and Eliezer. That is correct, right? So Abraham sent his most trusted servant Eliezer. Anyone knows what Eliezer means? Helper.
Yes.
Help. So he was his helper, his assistant. And he sent him out to go look for a bride for his son. And there was a lot of different agreements that transpired, right? When you have some time, you can read the whole story. Genesis 24, that's correct. And you'll see how Abraham made his servant swear. He went out. Now Isaac was home. Servant went out. And he searched and he got a bride. He brought all these gifts. There was a conversation that transpired, and I think we probably would go into that too a little bit. Let me see how far we're going to go, and then if anything, we'll cover that. But let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10, verses 15. And let us get some understanding. Deuteronomy 10 and 15.
Only Yah had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day.
All right, so because of the love, he has chosen us. Let's go to John 15 and 16. John 15 and 16, the book of John. Let me get there before you read John 15. Okay. John 15 and verses 16. Read.
Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you.
Remember that Yeshua had also says, he prayed and he says, he prayed a prayer that for those that was given to him. Do you remember what that is?
John 17.
Let's go there real quick. Those that were given to him. Those that were given to him. So, again, the Hebrew marriage, those that were given to him was Israel was his bride. Right? Is that correct? Okay. What verse?
You can read 8 and 9.
Okay, let's go to verses 8. Let's read from verses 7. Read verses 6. Verses 6.
I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. Now they have known that all things whatsoever that thou hast given me are of thee. For I have given unto them the words which thou gavest me, and they have received them, and have known surely that I came out from thee, and they have believed that thou didst send me. I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine.
All right, that's all we need. So, just to give a little taste, of the whole process Yeshua was fulfilling, is the same. He can't go outside the rules of his house, the way he designed things to be. All right, so let's move on. Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 13. 2 Thessalonians, what did I say? 2 and
2
what?
and 13.
All right, let's go.
Read.
Yes.
Okay. But we are bound to give thanks always to Yah for you, brethren beloved of Yah, because Yah have from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth.
So again, there we can see the process of being chosen here. All right, this is important. This is the ancient practice of Israel, and given unto the Son. Now let's continue on. Let's go. Let me see if I want to go there. Let's go to the story of. Let's go to Isaac. That's Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24. And let's take a look at this template, how things was done in ancient times. That's fine. You can leave it there. Genesis chapter 24. And let's read from verses 1.
Okay. Genesis 24 and 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yah had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, thine hand under my thigh.
So Abraham was a type of who?
Yahweh.
The Father, Heavenly Father, right? Eliezer was a type of what? Of who?
The angel.
The angels. Okay? And Isaac is a type of who?
Yeshua.
And we saw that type when Abraham took his only son to be sacrificed. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we know from that story that Isaac was a type of the Messiah. So the Father sent in the angel Eliezer to go seek out the bride.
Yeah, because the angel really simply means the messenger.
Or the spirit, right? Okay, so let's read.
And I will make thee swear by Yah, the Elohim of heaven and the Elohim of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land.
Notice it says willing, not kidnap, knock them over the head, but willing. That means that there's a negotiation that has to happen. We'll get that too. Okay?
She has a choice.
She has a choice, exactly. Continue on.
Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou bring not my son hither again.
So notice it says, do you want me to take your son and bring him back to where you came from in Syria? Right? Because Abraham moved from Ur in Iraq, and he settled in Syria, and he left his father's house there in Syria, and he came over down to Canaan, right?
Yes.
And so he's saying, do you want me to bring your son to Syria? And he says, nuh-uh. I want you to go and perform this work. Read.
Yah, Elohim of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath.
So when Israel came before the Most High in Exodus 19, we'll cover that too. All of the words the Most High say we will do. If we says, we're not going to do it, then we wouldn't have been responsible. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But we said we do. We agreed to it. Several times it was brought to our attention, and we kept agreeing and agreeing. Yes.
If you look into this situation, you will notice that this is why a lot of the people are not getting, because they're not willing.
They're that's right.
Willing to give up where they are and come back to
That's right.
Yeah.
But they want to receive the kingdom. They all want to go to heaven.
That's what the Gentiles saying. The Gentiles talk about heaven.
But they don't want to agree to the contract to inherit everything that was promised to the bride. Read on. And the servant?
Yeah. Only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, unto the city of Nahor.
Read.
And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water.
Now that's a prophecy of the last days. The evening, the sun's going down, and it's so it has a twofold meaning, probably even a three. Okay, let's read.
And he said, verse 12, and he said, O Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac. And thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master.
All right, read on.
And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon.
Very attractive. Read.
A virgin. Neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up.
So she was definitely not in a marriage contract before. Okay, let's continue on.
And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. And she hasted and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels.
So we can see the heart of humility that she had, right? Remember the story in the book of Jasher about Abraham went to visit his son Ishmael, and when he came, Ishmael's wife was home, and she was beating the children, cursing them out, cursing the father out. She wouldn't even offer a drink of water, nothing at all. And Abraham gave her a code message to pass on to his son Ishmael. Remove this nail from this tent. So when Ishmael returned back, he knew exactly what the father was meant, who the person was, and it was his father, because no one knew that that little teaching, right? And he got rid of that wife, and he replaced her with a woman that had hospitality. As soon as Abraham showed up, she was like Abraham, a reflection of Abraham, like Sarah, reflection of her. Prepare food, sir. Would you like something to drink? I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know your experience, but I know that you're here, and I'm going to offer. Just going to be kind to you, take care of you, wash your feet, whatever has to be done. I'm going to do it. Okay? And Abraham had a wonderful time. When he left, he says, listen, that nail is a good nail. Keep it. And his son was happy. So this is how the Hebrew marriage was supposed to be. Okay? Now, you see there's a lot of emphasis on the wife, the women. But really and truthfully, the men bear more of the burden. They're the ones that have to be outstanding, representative of the Most High. Modeling the Most High at all times. It takes a lot to reach to that stage. It's easy to point fingers at the wife. But are you living up to the requirements? Now, I'm sure you're going to look in the mirror and says, I have done no wrong. But really and truthfully, you're sadly mistaken. Okay? Because the Messiah will take another step. Even though the wife may be at fault, the Messiah will lay down his life for his woman. Same way with Adam himself, laying down his life for his wife. See? So at times we got to take a further step, and that shows the sign of the Messiah, the image of the Messiah upon us. Moses could have given up so many times, but he kept bearing that burden. Let's continue on. Yeah, let's continue on.
21. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether Yah had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekel weight of gold.
Now this is all part of, remember we talked about the price of the bride? Okay? So this is all part of the negotiation to gain this woman as Isaac's bride. Read.
And said, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge in.
So we have enough for the animals. We have plenty of stuff for you, likewise. Come on in. You're welcome. Read.
And the man bowed down his head and worshipped Yahweh.
You see how the servant was? Now, in our time, as Hebrews, we will have servants. The servants have to be modeled after Eleazar. So we're not going to be taking sticks and tying them to posts and beating them and burning them and cutting them to pieces and raping them and hanging them and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We're not going to do that. That is not the model by which Israel is to be built on. Okay, that's the heathen model. And people with that mindset is not going to inherit everlasting life. Okay, so continue on.
Verse 27. And he said, blessed be Yahweh Elohim of my master Abraham, who have not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, Yah led me to the house of my master's brethren.
So you can see it's a family affair. Yeshua was also to be married to his what? Basar, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Not to some other people. It was to be a joining. There's no mixing. No mixing. Okay? Continue on.
And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban, or Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well.
So in ancient times, there was always a male who was the covering for the house. If the father is dead and he has a son, that son will take over, or uncle. He will be the one in charge to make sure the affairs of his brother's house or his father's house or the house is taken care of. You understand that?
Yeah.
So it was his responsibility to take care of business. So continue on.
And it came to pass, when he saw the earrings and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well.
Read on.
And he said, Come in, thou blessed of Yah. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels.
Let's skip on down to verses 34.
Verse 34. And he said, I am Abraham's servant.
Read.
And Yah have blessed my master greatly, and he is become great. And he have given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, and men servants, and maid servants, and camels, and asses.
Okay, so now let's skip on a little bit just for time's sake. Skip on to verses 37.
Verse 37. And my master made me swear, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I dwell.
Let's go down to verses 40.
And he said unto me, Yah, before whom I walk, will send his angels with thee, and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred, and of my father's house.
Again, we said this is it has double meaning, because not only is an angel going before Eleazar, but he himself is an angel. Okay? Yes. So let's continue. Let me see. Let me skip on down. Let's skip all the way down. Okay, let's skip on down to verses 44, then we'll continue from there, okay?
And she said to me, Both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels.
So he's rehearsing what happened before with Rebekah bringing water and things like that, right?
There's a reason why he's rehearsing it.
That's right. So let's continue on.
Let the same be the woman whom Yah have appointed out for my master's son.
Appointed, because there were many different women, but one was chosen from that well out of all those women to be the one for this chosen seed, which is Isaac, who represents the Messiah. That's why when you read the Bible and you miss all these things, you're going to believe that the Messiah came for the whole world, his love is for the whole world, and all these different things. No, there's a protocol. He chose one, he's in covenant with one, and everyone else are going to be the servants in a righteous order. Okay? Let's continue.
Verse 45. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder. And she went down unto the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray thee.
Let's skip on to verses 47.
And I asked her, and she said, Whose daughter art thou? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring upon her face, and the bracelets upon her hands.
Let's go to 49.
And now, if he will deal kindly,
if you will deal kindly
and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left.
So now Eleazar is negotiating the bride. Okay, he's making a negotiation with Laban, trying to win her to bring her back, right? Because so far everything is going well. So now verses 50.
Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, The thing proceedeth from Yah. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as Yah have spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yah, bowing himself to the earth. Very important. That's a clue. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things.
Notice how this engagement was money, money, money. A lot of things was put in beforehand. A lot of gifts was given, right? So she had a little taste of that first, and then when it came to the family members, she got some more on top of what she had before, and then Laban and also the family received wealth, right? So now let's continue verses 54.
And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10.
Notice the 10 camels and 10 repeated again. They're going out of the sun, right? It all points to the future, okay? 10 tribes of Israel, yes, yes, yes. Continue.
After that she shall go. And he said unto them, Hinder me not, seeing ye have prospered my way.
So don't hold me back. I got business to take care of. Read.
Send me away that I may go to my master.
Now you notice that he couldn't leave, just pick up and leave on his own. He had to ask permission. Everything was done in a certain order. Okay, read on.
And they said, We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth.
So now first they agree that, okay, it's okay for her to leave. But now, you see, she has the right and the ability to speak for herself. Okay? So now, verses 58.
And they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go.
See that? So there's that holding period of time, allowing them to really think through this process. Do I want to go forward or not? And we can see that she had enough time to sleep on it. That's why when we come to Exodus chapter 19 and so forth, they had plenty of time to sleep on this thing, to think about it before they came into this permanent agreement. Okay? So now she says, I'm going to go. All right, read on.
And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, Thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them.
All right. So that's all we need from that. The rest you can read on your own when she finally meets Isaac and they get married and so forth. Now I'm giving you this because I want you to understand the process. This is a template by which everything else is built on. Let's go to 1 Peter verses 1 and verses 8. 1 Peter 1 and 8. 1 Peter 1 and 8.
First Peter 1 and 8. Whom having not seen, ye love.
So now, what is Peter talking about? Have we ever seen the Messiah?
No.
Did Rebekah see her husband, her future husband?
No.
So now Peter is borrowing from the same custom, the same thing. Why do you think Peter was the one who says, whose daughters are you? Right? Yeah. You belong to Sarah and Abraham. Yeah. He was borrowing from the past, the ancient way of doing things. And he says, listen, whom having not seen, read,
ye love.
You love.
In whom, though now ye see him not, yet believing, ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory.
Again, Rebekah never seen Isaac, but yet she was happy to go along. Okay? Yes. You good? All right. Let's continue on. So it was customary for the bride not to see the groom. That's also part of the ancient practice of Israel. Let's look at the price of the bride. Brides in Bible time were purchased, next slide, Kifa, were purchased, and the dowry was paid to the father of the bride. We looked at, since the father was not there with Laban, which is the son, and his mother was still alive. Even though the mother was alive, the mother was not the one to negotiate anything. It was the son. Laban was negotiating in the place of his father for his sister to be given as a bride. So brides in Bible time were purchased, and the dowry was paid to the father of the bride. As the bride of the Messiah have also, as the bride of the Messiah, we have also been purchased, by him. Let's go to 1 Peter. Let me see something here. Make sure I get the right one. 1 Peter 1 and 18. 1 Peter 1 and 18, and also verses 19.
For as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from your vain conversation received by traditions from your fathers, but with the precious blood of Messiah, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot.
So the price was laid to redeem us, to take us from one government. In order for Rebecca to be released from that house, monies and the negotiation and everything had to go in place, and now she's free from that covenant of being under that house and joining to a new covenant. Okay? So now, he's saying here, he's born from that same theme and saying, we were not purchased or redeemed by things that can easily be melted or passed away, but through the blood, his own life. Okay? So,
because you can't put a price on that.
Isaac didn't lay his life and bleed and say, take some of my blood, and no. But it's just giving us a more spiritual, a higher level of understanding the concepts here.
It's about value.
Life is more precious than these things of gold, right? Let's go to Ephesians 1, and we'll read 13 and 14. Ephesians 1, 13 and 14.
Ephesians 1.
13 and 14.
In whom you also trusted.
Just as Rebecca trusted.
After that you heard the word of truth.
So you heard about the testimony of Eleazar, all the gold, the wealth, the prosperity, the blessings of Abraham, the whole story, right? Read.
The gospel of your salvation, in whom also after that you believed, you were sealed with that Holy Spirit of promise.
So she heard about a promise, and she moved forward with that that belief that she had, and she received that. It was sealed. Okay, read on. Was that it? 14.
14, which is the earnest of your inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession, unto the praise of his glory.
All right. Again, when the apostles, the disciples were writing these letters, they were borrowing from the themes that existed before, the way Israel operated, and trying to teach us from that perspective how the Most High is going to operate, how Yeshua is going to deal with the one that he's in covenant with. Okay? So now we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and 23. 1 Corinthians 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verses 23.
Ye are bought with a price.
We are bought with a price.
Be not ye the servants of men.
So don't be the servants of men. Since he has purchased us, we are free from being under bondage or a covenant of someone else. Okay? All right. Now let's leave that and let's go to 1 Corinthians 6, 19 and 20. 1 Corinthians 6, 19 and 20. 19 and 20. Go ahead and read.
What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit?
So since we are purchased, we are released from the other government, we are owned by him. Okay? Don't you know that your body, not that your body is a temple of the what?
The Holy Spirit.
Read.
Which is in you,
Mm-hmm.
which ye have of Yah, and you are not your own.
So we don't belong to whatever we were in agreement with before. Read verse 20.
For ye are bought with a price.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, glorify Yah in your body and in your spirit, which are Yahweh's.
So we belong to him. We belong to him. We can't go outside of that covenant any longer, Mishpachah. Let's continue on.
Both spiritually and physically.
Let's look at the Ketubah. A Ketubah in Hebrew is a special type of Hebrew prenuptial agreement. It's a document. It is considered an integral part of a traditional Hebrew marriage and outlines the rights and responsibilities of what? Both parties. So as a husband, what I'm going to do as a husband, and to the wife, what she has to follow through, that I would expect her to follow through with, right? And the blessings or the curses. If you don't, this is what's going to happen. If you do, this is what's going to happen. Everything is tied into that agreement. Like when you apply for a job, you got to read the disclaimer. When you sit down with HR and they explain the benefits package or whatever, many a times we focus on the benefits, but we don't focus upon disciplinary matters of respect and whatnot. As soon as we get comfortable with the job, now we want to cuss the boss out. Now we want to start creating problems. You understand what I'm saying? So you come into agreement because you want this 6 figures or whatever the money is, and as soon as you're comfortable and everyone is comfortable with you, then your true character starts to show, and then we have a problem. And now you don't want to be in that contract anymore, and now you're saying that that's a bad boss. This is a bad company. This is a bad place. I hate this place. Why? You see? So let's continue. Let's go to our next slide. Ketubah literally means it is written. It is written. That's what it really means. It is written. Think about that carefully, right? It was originally formulated to protect a Hebrew bride from financial hardship in the event of divorce or her husband's death. So when the husband, let's say for whatever reasons the husband says, I can't deal with this woman, she's driving me nuts, he writes a divorce. He gives it to her. When he gives it to her, guess what? She gets a lot of stuff. That's why it's called a get. She gets a lot of stuff with it, right? So imagine that he has worked so hard. His father worked hard, his grandfather before, and all that money has accumulated into his hands. He's thinking about that money. Guess what? The reason why the Most High set the contract like that is because before this man even think about putting away his wife, he has to think about putting away all his money. All his wealth. And it puts him between a rock and a hard place. So now when he knows that all of this has to go, he can't just put his wife away for whatever cause. Now the reason why Yeshua mentioned that in the New Testament is because at that time we have deteriorated down to a Roman or Greek mindset where we're trying to operate, have the label of being a Hebrew, but still try to run the rules of a foreign country among ourselves. Yes.
That's why when the king Ahasuerus came to Esther and said, tell me your request, I pray you, even to the half of my kingdom.
That's right, even to the half of the kingdom. You see, so there's always something. That's right, that is right. And even with Hagar, she was given certain things and let go, right? There's always that giving away of gifts. Okay. Because it specifies the groom's financial obligation to the bride, the Ketubah made divorce a costly option, thereby strengthening the family. So now I got to learn how to put up with my wife, and try to find ways to communicate with her. the problem may be with me and not her, or she or not me. So now it puts us, she knows that she'll be kicked out, and I know that I'm going to lose. So guess what? We got to sit down and try to negotiate something. Honey, what is the problem? Husband, such, and such. Okay, wife, this is the problem. Okay, honey, I don't want to go, blah, 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 blah. She knows she's going to lose a lot. She knows she's going to gain. He knows he's going to lose a lot. He knows he's going to gain. It's a balance. Okay? All right, so let's continue on. It is signed by the groom. Next slide. It is signed by the groom as well as 2 witnesses and given to the bride during the wedding ceremony. At the wedding, under the chuppah, parts of the Ketubah are paraphrased and read out loud. So he doesn't read the whole document. He only reads parts of it. It's just a general outline. That's why when you read Exodus 20, and Yah spake all these words saying, and he goes through boom, boom, boom. That's 10. But then later on, the details of the 10 is given, is explained. And even later on, it's even further explained. Okay? So, I'm going to give you this house. You're going to be my wife, blah, blah, blah. But later on, he explains all what he means. Don't talk to Tyrone. All right? So now she has to find out, okay, what do you mean? What if Tyrone passes by and he says something? Well, this is what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Okay, I understand. I get it clear. I agree. No problem. I can do it. I can do that. All right? Let's continue on. It is forbidden. Oops. It is forbidden. Okay. It is forbidden for couples to live together without a ketubah. So you can't live together unless you have taken and made this agreement. If the ketubah is lost, a renewed copy must be written. Let's go to Exodus 34, verses 1 to 4. So if the first one, something is broken. Remember when Israel was living in this adulterous life before the Most High. Moses came. He saw them with the golden calf and whatnot. He took the commandments. He broke it. Right? What happened after that? He had to rewrite a second copy. A second copy. And given, once again, he didn't say, well, okay, I'm going to do something new. You're free to go. No, it had to be redone from scratch. So let's go to Exodus 34, verses 1 to 4. Exodus 34. Come on. Exodus 34. Oops. 34, verses 1 to 4. All right. Go ahead and read 1 to 4.
And Yah said unto Moses, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first.
So cut out some stones. You're going to do it this time because the first time I did it. And you broke it. Right? So now you're going to do the same exact thing like the first one. Read.
And I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables which thou breakest.
Read.
And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me in the top of the mount. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before the mount. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning, and went up unto Mount Sinai, as Yah had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone.
So once again, it's a renewed covenant or contract. Do we all understand that? Okay, so if he's that, what this is showing to us as a people, how serious the Most High, how committed he is to his love, his beloved. Right? All right, let's continue. Now let's go to Jeremiah 31, 31, 34. Jeremiah 31. All right, 31, 34. Let's go ahead and read.
Behold, the days come, saith Yah,
Uh-huh.
that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahweh.
Notice it says the word husband again. Notice it's talking about renewing this covenant. Notice it's only to a particular people. And notice that this is a prophet prophesying something that will happen in the future. When Jeremiah was saying these words, the rest of the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, was in exile. So who's going to read the contract? So this is why when you read about the 10 camels and the going down of the sun and this covenant that has been made and all this stuff, it's because it's speaking about future events likewise, renewing a contract in the future with the whole house of Israel. All right? The whole house of Israel. This is serious business that we're talking about, Mishpachah. Yes. Grab the mic.
There's many people say that we have a new covenant now, so we're not on the old covenant.
Well, if they pull the English word and go behind that word, you'll see it says renewed. The Hebrew is telling us renewed.
But they say this is saying the children of Israel. This is saying Israel.
But they're saying that they are the children of Israel.
But they're saying
spiritual Israel.
that we have a new covenant. So we don't have to stay with that old one.
So if they are the spiritual Israel, what tribe are they from? Baptist tribe? Pentecostal tribe?
Is there a Baptist tribe?
I don't know, Elder.
I don't see that in the Bible.
Verses 33. Let's read.
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh,
What will you do?
I will put my law in their inward parts.
I'm going to put the law in the inward part.
And write them in their hearts.
And I'm going to write them in their hearts. Read.
And will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
Notice it says, in their inward parts. That's sacred parts. That is personal. They'll be their people. Read.
And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more.
Now, imagine that Yeshua came, he died, and he's going to come again. This particular part about remembering the sin no more is the final phase of Yeshua's role. When he returns and sets up the kingdom, he has a final phase to fulfill. Now, all of that is missed in Christianity. What we're looking at is like, you have a marriage. Things didn't go so well. Now, we're going to cover a little part in the New Testament what Shaul was saying, to stay unmarried, right, for that time. Because what he was doing was trying to teach a principle about how the Messiah views us. And make ourselves available for him when things gets better, let's put it that way. So we can see how the Most High really loves Israel. And he's showing us through all these precepts here this everlasting love. He's not going to say for 1,000 generations and then all of a sudden send his son to do something totally different. Okay, let's continue. Got a lot of stuff to cover. Let's go to our next slide. What's contained in a ketubah? A couple's commitment to love and honor one another. Their respect for one another. It also includes the date and place of the wedding, and the names of the bride and the groom and their father's names. So you have all this information that's in the ketubah. Let us go and take a look at Exodus chapter 20. Go to the next slide, Kifa. And it's up on the screen too. Let's look and see what was just mentioned about the Hebrew Ketubah, that you also going to find the same thing when the Most High spoke the words and it was written on a book and also in stone, hard copies, right? So let's get verses 1 to verses 4. Exodus 19, verses 1 to 4.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai.
So we have a date, the 3rd month, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we have dates that are recorded afterwards. Let's continue on.
For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount.
We have a place. So we have a date and we also have a place. Is that correct? A location. Continue, verses 3.
And Moses went up unto Yah, and Yah called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob.
And that's the groom, right? The Most High. We have the Father, then we have the Son, who took the Father's name. And he's there. He's the one that came into contract. It wasn't the father that was there on Mount Sinai coming into contract with Israel. Because that would mean that the father married this woman, and then the son came and took the father's wife. That's corruption. Okay? Never happened. So let's continue. Thus, verses 3.
Verse 3. And Moses went up unto Yah, and Yah called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel.
Now notice it says, the house of Jacob, that's the names of the bride, right? The children of Israel, the bride. The family, her family heritage. So the children is the bride, right? And the forefathers, Jacob, Abraham, so forth, okay? That's the names of her family. Read.
You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself.
All right, that's all we need. So, again, this is part of the Ketubah. We have the names, the dates, the places, and all those different information on this marriage contract, okay? Let's continue to our next slide. Betrothal Ketubah. Sure I have the right stuff here. Okay, yeah. So now, Hosea chapter 2, verses 19. I'm going to read this real quick for sake of time. Hosea chapter 2, 19 says, I will betroth thee unto me for what? Forever. Hosea 2 and 19. I am married to you forever. I'm in contract with you forever. Isaiah 54 and 5. We read it already, but it says our maker is what? Our husband. Okay? Ephesians 5 and 25. Let's get that.
Ephesians 5 and 25.
Ephesians 5 and 25. It says, husbands.
Husbands, love your wife. As Yeshua loved the congregation and gave himself for it.
He gave himself for his congregation, for his bride. So he's betrothed forever. He's husband. And he's also given himself for his bride. Right? Let's continue on. That's all part of the Hebrew wedding, to give his life. So in the marriage contract, if a thief comes through or someone comes to harm the family, who's to protect? Who's to give his life? Not someone else across the street, but the husband who promised to defend and protect his wife, not to harm the wife. Let's continue on. Next slide. The bride's consent. Although a bride was selected for the bridegroom, she still had a choice. Now, we cover that in Genesis with Rebekah and Isaac. Is that correct? But this bride also had a choice. Yes.
was going to ask, what is the importance of protecting the wife?
Well, when you come into a contract, your wife is not only your help, but also she is the place where the seed have to be birthed. She's the one that has to continue life. So you got to protect that which is to continue your own lineage. And if you don't do that, you're basically destroying your own self. That's why Paul says that no man what?
Yet it ever hated his own flesh.
Hate his own flesh.
But nourish, that's in the same chapter of Ephesians. But nourish and cherish.
Nourishes and cherishes his flesh. Because
right.
it's like you purchase a piece of land, which is equivalent to a woman, a wife, and then you hate the ground. You throw all kinds of fuel on it. You poison the ground. How is that ground, that earth, that property going to produce anything for you? What if you put good seed in the ground, and you toil the soil, and you work the ground, and you trim the trees, and it's going to produce much fruit, which is going to what? Give you life. Is that correct? But if you tear it down, you poison it, you do all kinds of you have it as a dumping ground. People can come and throw whatever they want into it, and you don't really care too much. That means to say that you hate it. Okay? Yes, elder.
Remember in the Ketubah, you sign, you agree, so you do.
Exactly.
You will do. So then you don't hate your flesh.
That's right.
So you can't mistreat her. You have to take care of her. It's your own self.
And that is why Yeshua said in Mount Sinai, because I love you. I love. It was all about love. And love is not something sexual, sensual. Love is much more than that. Okay? Next slide. The commitment is good there. The commitment and simple requirement. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10. We're going to read from 12 to 22. The commitment is very, very simple. It's a real commitment. It's very simple requirement. Deuteronomy 10 and verses 12 to 22. Deuteronomy. Let me get it. Deuteronomy 10 verses 12. All right, let's continue.
Deuteronomy 10, 12 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Israel, what doeth Yah your Elohim require of you?
So he's asking you a question. He's putting it on paper. What do I expect you to follow through with this marriage agreement? Read.
But to fear Yah your Elohim.
Respect your husband.
To walk in all his ways.
Just follow his ways. Read.
And to love him.
And to love your husband. Read.
And to serve Yah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul.
Read on.
To keep the commandments of Yah and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
For your what?
For thy good.
Read.
Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is Yah's, the Elohim, the earth also, with all that therein is.
So he's making a statement and says, I am the owner of every single thing. I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to give you, since I control everything, it's up to me. He's showing his power, his rulership. He's doing like what Eleazar did by showing some money. Then Laban saw all of this wealth, 10 limousines outside parked, with servants, with all this money and stuff. Right? So he's explaining to her, I'm a wealthy person. I got lots for you. But he doesn't want us to be focused upon all of these wealth. That's just the benefits of the love. But people have it twisted. They're focused on the wealth, and then the love comes after. Or sometimes the love doesn't even come at all. What I can get from you, I can use you. And when they're finished using you, they just dump you to the side. That's the wealth. That's it. See, continue on.
I think it's just a little more than just, you know what I'm saying to you? Because if you're looking at the Most High, he's saying, I am the source of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's not about giving you the earth. He says, I am the source of all life. You see, and if you want to have life forever, you have to walk in those ways that I gave you, the instructions that I gave you, in order for you to have for your good, because you want to live.
Now remember, he's the perfect husband. Is that correct?
That's right.
But we have a lot of men who want to put the label of a perfect husband and want the world to believe that they are really chocolates and ice cream or whatever it is, really sweet. But they're not. They're not fulfilling their role. That is the reason why Israel got kicked out in the first place. It wasn't because of the women, it was because of the men. Right? And today we have our brothers who are waking up from knowing who they are. And what do? Instead of doing what they're supposed to do, they start bashing the women. Okay? We'll cover that at another time, because I really love to bring that history out to show it was the men, always the men, that started to have the problems. They were responsible. Okay? What do you think happened with Adam and Eve? First thing that he did is the woman that you gave me. Yes.
I was bringing the part to show that in all his speech he talked about water and the well.
That's right.
And just like water is life.
That's right.
He is the life.
Women and the wells.
Right.
Water with the women.
Yes.
He met a woman at the well. Isaac found his wife at the well.
Right.
Moses met his wife at the well. You find these patterns throughout. You show the woman at the well.
And even when he was crying out to the people and saying, I am the resurrection and the life.
And out of your belly.
Yes, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just he put in the natural with the supernatural.
That's right.
And showing.
Did he say out of his belly?
Yeah, shall bring, rivers of.
Yes, it's out of your belly.
Whose belly? His or theirs?
Theirs.
Their belly.
Yes.
Why?
Because that is where the source of life.
That's the woman.
The woman. That's
That's
where
Israel.
the source of life is.
Out of their belly will flow life water.
That's where
water.
the seed is being
Planted.
nurtured.
That's right.
Nurtured and taken care of in order to bring a new plant out.
That's right. Genesis 1.
Exactly.
And what is it, 2?
Mm-hmm.
The Ruach
move upon the waters.
The waters.
That is in the womb, which is the same consistency as the sea.
And then things came forth from that.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's why it is said in the scriptures that the man cannot live alone. To complete life, it must be a pair. Both of them.
A union. A union. Yep. All right. We're going to read down to what verse I says? 22?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, read on.
Verse 14. Behold, I already read that.
15.
Only 15. Only Yah had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day.
Mm-hmm.
Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked.
Mm-hmm.
For Yah, your Elohim, is the Elohim I'm sorry, read that again. For Yah, your Elohim, is Yah of gods and Lord of lords, a great Yah, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward.
So you can't be bribed.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to break his contract. You know, sometimes a man will pass around and offer money for another man's wife. He can't be bribed. Read on.
He doeth execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loveth the stranger, and giving him food and raiment.
Notice how Israel is to operate.
Yes.
To take care of our own business. Right? Mm-hmm. All right. Was that it? Read on.
Love he therefore the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear Yah your Elohim.
Okay, we can actually stop there. Let's move on. So the requirements is very simple. You follow, you do these things, you'll be increased. You'll have inheritance, protection, everything. Because I know I'm not going to break the contract. So I'm expecting you to follow through, and you will get the benefits. Let's move on to our next slide. The cup of the covenant. After the ketubah was accepted, a cup of wine was shared or used to seal the marriage covenant. We read in Exodus 24, verses 5 to 8. If you can pull that up for me. And the cup that Yeshua took at his last Passover on earth was the cup of the renewed marriage covenant with his bride. Luke 22, verses 20, and Matthew 26 and 29. According to the Hebraic concepts, the second cup of wine would be shared many months later during the marriage ceremony. So Yeshua says, I'm not going to drink this cup with you now, but I'll drink it later on. Remember? All right. So remember also, it mentions here in a Hebrew marriage or covenant, wine is also used. Is that correct? All right. So if wine is used, remember Yeshua made a statement about the wine? He says, this cup is what? Represents what?
My blood.
My blood. Now, the first time blood was utilized at Passover time as part of the covenant. Let's go to Exodus 24, verses 5 and 8. Let's see what the book says. Exodus 24.
5 and 8.
To show you that every contract, there must be blood. Exodus 24. I'm gonna take a few more, and then we're gonna have to stop and continue on next week. Exodus 24 and what did I say?
5 to 8.
5 to 8. Yeah, I'm gonna have to continue because there's a lot of stuff to cover, and we're just getting into it. Okay.
And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yah. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yah have said will we do and be obedient.
Remember Exodus 19. Remember all through the book, they've been saying the same thing. All that the Lord say we will do. In other words, I do. You promise to do such and such? Yes, I do. Right? Read on.
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold the blood of the covenant, which Yah have made with you concerning all these words.
So in a marriage agreement, you have a cup of wine that is being used. But they don't take the wine and sprinkle it on the people. But the symbology of the wine represents the blood. You're coming to an agreement. You're drinking this, okay? Both of you are sharing this. This is coming into your body. Symbolically, we're becoming one flesh, blood with blood. You know, sometimes in the old days, people will say we're gonna become blood brothers, and they'll cut the hand. You cut your hand, I cut my hand. We put the thing together, and we made a pact or an agreement. Forever we are going to be brothers, no matter what, whatever. These little silly things is all types of blood, life, things being agreed to, not to be broken at all. But there's much more as far as the blood covenant is concerned, and we're going to leave that for next week, because there's a lot of things to look at as far as blood and covenant. For us to understand that when we came, this is Mount Sinai, this is where we received the commandments. And when we came into this agreement, blood was shed. An agreement was made by blood, right? So, let us go. Is that it? Let's go to Luke 22 and 20. Yes. Luke 22 and 20.
That he did not sprinkle the blood on other nations.
No, he did not. No.
Okay.
Excellent point. He didn't. Luke 22, I said, right? All right. Let's continue on. 22 and 20.
Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you.
That's right. This cup is the New Testament or renewed covenant in my blood, which is shed for you. So this is the agreements that we were coming into. He was renewing something that was already made since Sinai. And remember, Paul says that this is not Sinai, which is a bondage, but this is of Jerusalem, which is free, right? The reason is because he was kind of giving you a midrash or commentary about at that particular time how when we did things, we didn't do things with the whole heart. And when you don't do things with a whole heart, it becomes like a bondage, like you're in prison. But when you come into a relationship and your whole heart is in there, you're going to do it freely. Free. You don't have to ask for anything. You don't have to expect anything. You just do it because I love. Yes.
On Mount Sinai, they had no understanding that this was about the Messiah. And so now we understand that this was given pointing to the Messiah. Mm-hmm. And that is the reason why it was bondage. But you see? And
Hagar really didn't want to have a child in that sense. She didn't want to be there. She was in bondage, right?
Yeah.
Everything that was about her was about bondage. Mm-hmm. But Sarah now, she loved her husband. Everything about her was I want to be with this man. Mm-hmm. He risked his life to be with his wife. Okay?
Well, he did not make a covenant with Hagar.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. He made a covenant with Sarah.
That's right. So let's continue on. We got one more here. Matthew 26 and 29. Matthew 26 and 29. Now I'm going to stop here. Mm-hmm. And we'll just have to continue next week.
But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
So again, it's going to be renewed again in the kingdom. It means to say that this covenant of Israel, being this mikra, this rehearsal process over and over, he's keeping the contacts, keeping the connection going, the fire burning. He has not forsaken us, Mishpachah. And so hopefully we start to scratch the surface of what a ketubah is all about. It's a covenant agreement that begins without even consummating the marriage. Stipulations is put on the table. What I'm going to do for my wife, what she has to do for me. We love each other. We're going to move forward and so forth. We get very intimate later on. We produce children later on, and life comes forth. So all these things is part of the process, Mishpachah, of the house and the life of Israel. So I'm going to stop here. Stop here. Let's go back to the top. And if anyone has any comments or any questions, again, our number is 605-475-2875, and the UK 0330-777-1307, Canada 867-292-3030. Code number is 9248738. When I look at the subject of marriage, it's just so much stuff to really get into. You can never do it in one sitting. And some of the things that we're going through now, you'll see it again later on, and you'll get some more understanding on top of that too. Okay? So brothers and sisters, any comments? Anything you'd like to share? Ani Lidodi. Shalom, Sister Tina. Shalom. What's on your mind?
This was an awesome lesson. I've been, for the last couple of days, I've been in all of the scriptures you were talking about marriage, about the husband and the wife. And you even shed more light when you were talking about how our marriages, how we took on the pagan things of our marriage when we first got married, when you were talking about the talisman and back then We didn't know the purposes of those bouquets and all of these rituals that we were doing. And you know what, Yana? Just examining that and listening to that, it seemed like all of our marriages were cursed because we didn't know anything about these particular rituals that we were doing. And I'm going to put it for me. I'm going to put it for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but for me. And look at all the ignorance, that we were in, and not knowing who we were, who the people were. And we took on all these rituals. We just totally forgot we forgot who we were. And the marriage is so important. Looking at all of these scriptures that you pulled out about the Ketubah and the Messiah, all of this was how our marriage in real life, with our physical partners, it was supposed to be just like the example of the people in the wilderness when they took on the covenant. And when we got into marriages, it was all about for sex and not for the real deal of the true covenant of the Messiah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And, how could we, if we don't respect the Most High, how can we respect our husband? I'm talking about us women. How could we, if we don't really know about the Most High, the Messiah? How could we, we just obeying him? How could we obey our husband? You know what I'm saying? Which they're supposed to be the head, just like the Messiah is the head. That's the order it's supposed to be. Now, if we obey the Messiah, right, we could be subjected to our husband if he's like the example of the Messiah, walking in the ways, the commandment to lead his family spiritually. And because we weren't taught that the right way, mm-hmm. This is why a lot of our marriages failed.
Right.
This is a lot of it failed. And you can see all of the corruption in our marriages. We're supposed to be Sarah's daughters, right? Mm-hmm. Look how Sarah honored her husband because he knew how to treat his wife, and
That's
he
right.
loved her because walked in the ways of the Most High, even though he didn't see him or know him, anything that the Most High instructed him to do, he did. That's why he had the wealth and everything else, because he loved the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And while he loved the Father, he loved his wife, mm-hmm. and respected her. That's why she could call him, as we say, Lord. Baal, like, Baal meaning husband. That's why she could call him husband.
Husband, right.
So today, can many of us call our husbands husbands and give them that respect if they're not walking in the ways of the Father?
That is the question. That is the main question.
Yes.
How can you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You were starting that, but that was my question. How can we?
That is what Shaul was trying to explain to us, and because we're building ourselves towards Shavuot, I'm going to spend a little time with that before we go into the 613 commandments, because this actually is This was a segue. This is actually a great place to go into understanding the 613, because people will say, "Okay, teach me the 613," and they have no understanding of where the heart is in all of this. Okay, I can teach you all these different things, but what about your heart? You're going to go back and it's just going to be a bunch of paperwork to you, information. Now, one of the things that you mentioned before is so true about understanding how we were doing things the Roman way and putting curses upon ourselves. When the Romans did their marriages, they did it modeling the gods that they worship. They did it based on the model, the type, the prototype was the gods that they believed in. And everything that trickled down from there, they represented, they wanted to please the gods that they worshipped. So everything was based on that chain, right? A man has to emulate the God that we worship and walk in his footsteps. We have to emulate him. And therefore, everything else will trickle down. So you can't expect a wife to sit comfortable and honor her husband, and a husband is wayward. A husband is all over the place. And a man should not expect, come on now. A lot of men really don't understand what they're supposed to do as husbands. They really don't. Yes, there's a lot of women who don't know, but it's the responsibility of the husbands to teach. They're the ones that are supposed to teach. They're the ones that's supposed to set the example, and you're correct. You're not going to find anywhere in the Torah where Abraham cusses out his wife. Or Isaac cussing out his wife. And if she make a mistake, like for example, when Sarah told Abraham, hey, I know I can't have children. Take my handmaid to be to bring forth children, right? All right, so he did that. That was his wife's choice. It was her choice. She had the power. He didn't go and says, honey, I want to have me another woman because such and such. She was the one who says, under the laws of Israel, you go ahead, you can have her so that you can produce children in my name. And then when the problems arise from that, she came to the husband, I'm having all these problems with this woman. He says, he said to his wife, you and her was in agreement, didn't you? You settle that among yourselves. You settle that among yourselves. And then when the wife talked about putting away Ishmael, right? Abraham needed his head over him to give him the green light to put away the son. So the Most High said to Abraham, listen to your wife. Whatever she's saying is true. Send this woman away. Didn't Abraham do that? So I'm showing you the protocol because a lot of our men, they love to wave the big stick. And the Most High doesn't operate like that. How can you operate the way that the Most High himself do not operate? Yes, I see two hands over there.
I want to say something as far as Sarah and Hagar goes. Remember when she gave the handmaiden into Abraham, okay? And then when she found out she was conceived, she despised her mistress.
That's right.
Sarah actually told Abraham, my wrong be upon you. And the reason why she said that, because he agreed. He could have not agreed, but he did agree. So whatever she did fell on him.
Better responsibility.
Exactly. And so he said to her, well, your maid is in your hand. Do with her as you please.
Let me take it a step further. In the Torah, when I see your hand, in the Torah it teaches about oaths. Swearing, or making an oath.
Right.
A lot of our people don't even understand that. But there's a part where it talks about when a husband makes an oath, he's bound to it. If a wife is making an oath, he has to stand around and he has to agree.
That's right.
Now, if he doesn't agree, if he says no, now she's making an oath to the Most High.
Right.
But if he doesn't agree with that oath, the Most High will void whatever comes out of her mouth is done. But if he holds back and he says nothing,
right?
Guess what?
It goes.
He's in agreement with that.
That's
and
right.
He's responsible for that.
That's right.
So if something happened to the wife, it falls on him.
That's right. He bears the burden. And it goes back to Yeshua bearing the burden for our crimes.
That's right.
You see? That's what you got to understand the protocol.
Remember when they were beating him to a pulp? Yes. And they asked him, are you such and such and such? And he answered not a word.
That's right.
It goes back to the same oaths where he allowed all these things to fall upon him on the behalf of his wife.
That's right. That's right. That's why he's the perfect husband.
perfect, yes.
Perfect
That's
husband.
Right. Perfect husband.
So, in order for many of our brothers to even receive the word Lord, they want to have the word Lord or husband or some big title before the action.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very short fuse, patience, like a short fuse.
Yeah.
Very, very short patience. I've been married for how long now?
30 years.
30 years. And we have had our waves.
Yeah.
But guess what? All of these things, I'm still here. Like, so this didn't work out. Okay, that's it. Here's the paperwork. I'm done with you. I'm gone. I'm finished.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Ima?
Yeah, if you notice that Sarah waited until everything was finished on her part, because she waited and waited and waited
Till she was too old.
till everything had even to the oldness, but that everything had dried up. There was no kind of life or anything blood that can give life.
That's right.
And until then she decided that it was maybe God thought maybe she said maybe God meant it to be some other way.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what happened to her. You see? Otherwise she would not have done it.
That's right.
And one of the things is that a woman's desire is to always give her husband a seed.
That's right.
And if she feels that she doesn't give him a seed, she doesn't feel like she's a woman.
Complete.
Complete, exactly. So, so she's thinking, I want to give my husband a seed. And the law of the land at that time, that if she couldn't bear, her maiden would bear for her. So rightfully, Ishmael belonged to Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
But the wife was cunning, and she taught the child to be rebellious against Sarah, and was, wanted to destroy Isaac.
Right, not to respect and keep the contract. Yeah. All right, Mishpachah, we're going to have to stop here. I want to be fair. Is any other comments and questions from anyone else? Check the chat. Okay. So I do, we will have an opportunity to go further into marriage, because what we think about marriage is really off. Yeah. Is really, really off. It's modeled after the Gentiles. And when you sit back and really think about it, you realize that you started off on the wrong foot. Yeah. Okay? So with that said, we're going to go right into the Bezot HaTorah. Bezot HaTorah.
Bezot HaTorah Asher Saya Moshe Livnei Bnei Yisrael Apid Adonai Beyad Moshe. And this is the Torah that Moses placed before the children of Israel at the command of Yah through Moses' hand. Hayetz Kayem Hi Lama Kazikim Ba Veto Mikeha Meosha Dirakeha Dakenoam Vekol Netivoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Eleka Venashuva Kadesh Kadesh Yamenu Kadesh Yamenu Keke
It is a
tree of life to those who take hold of it, and and those who support it are praiseworthy. Its ways are the ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Bring us back, Yahweh, to you, and we shall come. Renew our days as of old.
Amen. I'm going to ask Dod Shemuel to close out with prayer in Yeshua's name.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you once again to be in your courts where we could give thanks and praise for words of encouragement day after day and time after time as we come in to study your word. Help it, Lord, not to be slipping from us, but as we go, we will go strong in thee. We ask you to bless the one who performed today. Bless our hearts, bless the offering, and bless every other food that each one have to eat today, so that as we come back, we be strong in thy presence. Those who listen to thee this day, may you bless them likewise and help them to continue to search and seek out their word, so that they too might have a place with thee in thy kingdom. Bless us again, once again, because they do ask it, Lord, in wonderful name I pray. Amen.
Yivarech Adonai, v'yishmarecha, Yad Adonai panav alecha, v'yikoneka, Yisa Adonai, panav alecha, Yasem lecha shalom. I will bless thee and keep thee. I will make his face to shine upon thee, be gracious unto thee. Yah lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, family. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing or meeting with you all again this Friday night coming. And just remember also to this is actually the last. This is the second Shabbat of the Pentecost. Remember, 7 Shabbats should be complete. So last week was the first, right? This is the last one for the month, and so we look out for the moon, and hopefully we should see the new moon tonight. Tomorrow night, hopefully. 30th of the month. Okay, so we'll look out for it tomorrow night. You can start looking for exercise tonight. But you're probably not going to see it. So we'll look out for it tomorrow night, and I'm putting together a calendar that will help, and I will send it out to all of you all, and also post it on our website. I'm just tweaking a few things as far as the pagan days, so you can be able to see the pagan days, how it falls with the cycles of the month. Also, some of you all have asked for letters for work. Those of you who still need letters, just send me an email with your work name so I can put it on the paperwork. Once we see the new start, I will send out those letters that same night, so that you can have the letter for your month. Okay. So just be in mind of that. I will send those out as soon as we have verification of the new moon, okay? And then from that point, we will have the entering into the third month. I'm sorry, the third Shabbat. Sorry, third Shabbat. And then you'll see everything on the calendar accordingly, okay? Also, just to remind you all, the calendar too is going to have some projection dates as far as the time is concerned. We always have to verify with the sighting of the moon, and then know when the days, how everything is going to move from there. So with that said, I love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. Please keep everyone in prayer. Remember Sister Tina in prayer also. And let's continue the work on this road to Zion. And also pray for this work. Thank you, Elder. So Shabbat Shalom. Until next time, love you all. Stay strong and stay sharp in Yeshua's name. Amen. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.